4 kids in 4 years. And Malcolm and Simone Collins have plans for many more.
12, 14. I will definitely keep having kids until I can't have kids anymore. So either a surgery is going to go terribly wrong and I'm going to have my uterus out, or for some reason frozen embryo transfers stop working.
The Collins use IVF to have all their children, hoping to have about 1 baby per year, alternating the sex of the children every 2. The couple is becoming the poster family for the pronatalism movement, on a mission to play a part in repopulating humanity, concerned over potential economic drag or even destruction due to low rates of fertility.
What are we supposed to do? Just admit that the entire economic system we've built the globe on is about to collapse?
The movement gaining support from the likes of the often controversial Elon Musk, who has fathered 12 children of his own.
It's been very useful to have, probably the world's most powerful and wealthy person advocating for our movement.
It's true that 97% of the countries around the globe have fertility rates below what's needed to maintain their population by the end of this century. Various countries have tried to solve for this. Tokyo recently launched a dating app built by the government to encourage childbirth, as a shrinking population and aging workforce in Japan has contributed to a weak economy over decades. And most low fertility countries around the world introduce measures like tax incentives and paid paternity leave to make childrearing cheaper and fight falling birth rates, according to a 2021 UN report. But pronatalists want Americans to take action now and are injecting themselves into the center of America's culture wars. Like Britt Benjamin, who argues it's not government policy that will solve this problem, but families prioritizing more children.
I'm not sure that there is a policy or some sort of nudge that the government can do, aside maybe from lowering taxes. I really do think it's more about our attitudes.
Critics of this movement say the pronatalists don't simply want to promote more babies, but certain types of babies. As part of their IVF, the Collins do genetic testing on their embryos, prioritizing traits that they say will give their kids the, quote, best roll of the dice.
You've been called the hipster eugenicists.
It's hilarious. We're absolutely definitionally not eugenicists. Eugenics involves, 1, establishing that there are universally good and bad traits, and 2, trying to increase or decrease those traits on a population-wide level. We do not believe that there are universally good or bad traits.
Why do the genetic testing in your embryos?
We looked really carefully at cancer. We also looked at a lot of mental performance adjacent traits like anxiety, brain fog, inability to deal with stress. And of course, we also looked at intelligence because that correlates with pretty much everything from pro-sociality to health.
But some bioethicists say this practice is an ethical gray area.
What is a valuable life? What is a life worth living? What are the things that we're looking for in our children? If they're not able to meet that, then we have the opportunity to essentially deselect them. And I think that is where we can see a lot of controversy.
Experts in the field also agree a declining population is an economic problem, but argue there are other factors to consider too.
The more people we have using more resources, the more we are going to eat into these planetary limits. All of the future climate change that we're already committed to, because we're not doing enough already, is just going further into the red.
For their part, the Collins described their politics not as extreme, but as the, quote, new right.
The pronatalist movement is incredibly centrist. That is to say, don't tell me how to live my life, get health care, or raise my kids. So I'm a big supporter of things like school choice, but I'm also a big supporter of things like reproductive choice.
The Collins say they hope that people across the political spectrum will get on board, something not everybody in the movement agrees with, as demonstrated by some of their co-speakers at the inaugural 2023 Natal Conference.
We don't really want to market natalism to the progressive feminists. The people maxing out their fertility should be people, ideally, who won't raise their children to be gender-neutral furries.
But even if the Collins are more inclusive, they have a warning for progressives, that in the long run, they're in danger of dying out.
The people who hate us the most are the people often that we're trying to help the most. We're going to them and being like, okay, groups like you won't exist in the future. And so while we feel bad in the moment, that we weren't able to save them, right? At least, they were mean to us as well.
Top of the head.
We're trying to advocate for their interests. They can't see us. They just see us as monsters.
Maura Barrett, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.